me ask me, Kevin Smith, two things I know in this world. Black and white convenience store movies and podcasting, man. So when I give you a podcast suggestion, people tend to listen. I'm about to drop some on you right now. Check out a great variety of podcasts on the OddPods Media Network, man. I'm talking shows Super Media Brothers, Married with Television, The 500 Section Lounge, From the Middle Podcast, Pod Askew, BFYTW, and Infectious Groove, all proud members of the OddPods Media Network. They make me so happy, spittle flies out of my mouth when I talk about them, man. I love anybody that creates a podcast network, and the good folks at OddPods have done exactly that. Go listen to all the podcasts on OddPods Media Network right now and tell them Silent Bob sent you. And when they say, wait, I thought he doesn't talk, and you're like, yeah, well, he talks one line per movie. And then go like, what? And the one line in a movie told you to go listen to OddPods Media Network? And then be like, look, it was just a fucking sign-off catchphrase. Get off my dick. And then you'll have made a new friend.
I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We are the Super Media Bros podcast, and we are founding members of the OddPods Media Network. Drinking with Lincoln.
Sake to me.
Wheeling and dealing.
All that and more.
Werewolves and zombies? What the fuck?
Oh my.
Super Media Bros.
Did not expect any of this shit.
But we're sure glad we experienced it
Oh, absolutely.
in some forms.
And fashion. The fashion of, the fashion of yore.
Fourscore.
7 whores ago. 4 whores 7 hours ago.
And now 5 fours.
5 whores. Welcome to a bonus episode of the Super Media Bros podcast. I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We're gonna just jump right into it. We're doing a President's Day showdown, and holy fucking shit.
Today's presidential election features 2 rivals.
Abraham Lincoln
Who's the brains of the operation of the Civil War.
versus FDR,
Always gets into hairy situations.
an American badass, if you will.
Both of these men like to drink. They like to fight.
And fuck.
So who does it better?
Fight.
Fuck.
Fuck. Round 1. Fuck. Yeah, we're doing Abraham Lincoln versus zombies versus FDR American Badass.
And yeah, holy shit about all this.
I can't even stress how opposite these are enough. But I guess let's jump into Abraham Lincoln versus zombies because fucking shit. This is a mockbuster of the film Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Came out in 2012. I think both of these movies came out in 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
And I want to stress that this says that this is an action comedy horror B movie. I didn't really find anything humorous, like purposely written into this script.
The only thing I think humorous was the title.
And maybe like a bone that was broken somewhere in this movie. Especially when the dude jumped off the fucking roof and just cracked his fucking ankle.
Yeah, we kind of established watching this movie about halfway through. There's really not a whole lot to discuss. And then there's a couple of things that we found funny, which weren't supposed to be funny, I guess. But honestly, the concept is basically there's a zombie plague during this Civil War. And that is pretty much what is causing the Civil War in this point. The North and the South are fighting each other because obvious reasons. And then the zombie plague is thrown into the mix. So Abraham is on the front lines trying to figure out what is the cause of all this. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of this whole fucking film.
Yeah, and it's set up by the opening where Abraham Lincoln sees his dad commit suicide and his mom is basically a zombie and he decapitates her. And that's all you get. So you get the fact that this man has dealt with zombies before, and there's a dude that his cabinet, I guess, brings him to where they're like, this man is sick and blah, blah, blah. And Abraham knows what's going on. But does he ever really tell anybody until like later what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, they make a point of it during the film. Like, he doesn't tell anybody until it's too fucking late. So he's just bringing them to their slaughter, in a sense. Yeah, I remember that one scene we're talking about where he gets introduced to like a general or a colonel. I forget the guy's name. But
Oh, you talking about Stonewall?
no, not him. The one that was infected. It was like Hector.
I think so.
And I remember the way the guy looked, it immediately thought of fucking Edgar from Men in Black when he's like, water, sugar.
Dude, it's true. Because he goes in there to look at him and he's tied on the ground. Mr. President, we cannot figure out what's wrong with this man. Can you take a look? Oh, sure, I could take a look. What's wrong? Water! It really does look like Edgar from Men in Black.
And I honestly thought his name was Edgar, and I was like, holy shit, is his name really Edgar?
It'd be fucking funny if it was.
It's like, no, it's Hector. It's like, fuck. I love the comedy I created, but the irony behind it would have been even better.
Exactly.
But yeah, so now they're a ragavan group of guys literally going after this certain key point in the war. And I forget the name of the fucking fort, which doesn't really matter, but they apparently celebrate the speech that he gives on the train tracks with everybody pulling their flask out of their pockets and just drinking to it.
Was it Fort Pulaski?
Fort Pulaski, that's right.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't care because it's not that.
I know, it's just funny because like none of it makes sense. Like they get there and this is where basically the whole fucking movie happens.
Yeah. And it looks like super modern. Like the building itself looks too new compared to what the actual film era was supposed to be in.
Right.
Also, I pointed out too, watching this film, they put it in that almost sepia filter to kind of give it that historic look. But at the same time, I think they did that to kind of wash away some of the blemishes or the poor quality, I guess you can say, in a sense.
Yeah, this is an asylum film. There was like $150,000 budget.
Yeah.
And this is what cracks me up. So he leaves his wife, Mary, at home, right? So he runs into, like, they get to this fort and get barricaded in, or they're like losing the fight or some bullshit, which is stupid because the zombies are just fucking standing there and not really doing jack all. And fucking, they go down to this basement where there are two prostitutes. One of them is actually an old flame of Abe's named Mary. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. He had a flame named Mary and then he married Mary. So there's something about Mary. Don't know. But then
no cowlick involved.
Right. But then they introduce like young Theodore, like young Teddy Roosevelt, like as a kid or whatever. And he's, God damn it, man. He fucking hands him that stick. He's like, you want to defend yourself or walk tall, carry a big stick? I know it's just a broom handle, but still.
Yeah, they pretty much give the idea that Abraham gave Teddy that slogan. And I'm like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to this entire fucking thing because it's essentially the same shit. Like, we're not gonna lie. There's spots, but we kind of fucking fast forwarded a little bit through the movie because it took for fucking ever to get from one exposition to the next and from one scene to the next with pointless dialogue.
Too much exposition. Like they're talking nonstop for a good like 5-6 minutes in between like action scenes, and the action scenes weren't really that interesting. Besides like Abraham slinging his fucking scythe out of his fucking coattails.
It looked awesome as shit though.
Yeah, because he'll literally just like switchblade that shit and just slice fucking zombies' heads off or in half or whatever.
Yeah,
and then everybody else is just fucking like dumbfounded. They're buffoons.
Yeah, because like they get to the fort and basically Mary, like the old flame, somehow I don't remember if she got scratched or she got blood in her face or her eye or some shit like that, but she gets infected.
She got squirted on you.
Yeah, she did. And I think this is where it's like, okay, now we got to fucking kill them all, blah, blah, blah. And there is a double agent in there who is protesting all the fucking killing. And he's apparently a Confederate soldier or some shit in disguise. And he gets killed trying to release one of his partners or some shit from the war. And he's been zombified and he gets fucking killed. Is whatever. Who cares? But
we also meet Stonewall Jackson. At one point, and he refuses to take part in anything whatsoever. He just wants to sit in his little room in the fort and just wham the entire time. But eventually, eventually he comes around and actually helps out with the fight. And that's pretty much all you get from Stonewall. Like, that's his character. It's just, he was a bitch, basically.
Right. Dude, so when they get to the before they find Mary and everybody else in the basement, there's a shot where this dude is walking. He gets shot in the back, but the way that they shot it, it looks like he farts and the table explodes.
Mhm.
Like that's and also, we watched this on YouTube. Every fucking advertisement that popped up was a goddamn beer advertisement.
Yeah, we had Mordella, we had Truly, and Coors. So the idea that Google was trying to give us was you have to be drunk to watch this shit. And
Quite frankly, we should have been.
they're not lying.
They really are not.
But one of my biggest issues with this whole film, and I don't know if it was YouTube's fault or if it was the producer or whatever, editing, whatever, the sound, the music was too loud. It was louder than the dialogue. And which I'm not complaining. I didn't want to hear shit, but you couldn't hear what they were saying pretty much like 80% of the film.
Yeah, the sound mix was really bad.
Because like you have this real tender moment with like Mary and Abe at points, and all you hear is, ooh, and then you hear Abraham like,
I was trying to tell you, I was back when we had our thing. I really liked fucking you, and
music.
it might be my kid. Anyway, I gotta go.
Music.
That was the scene.
Exactly. Yeah, word for word, note for note.
Exactly. So there's another couple of things that were actually very funny when two of the guys are fighting off the zombies. We actually like stopped and rewound this a couple times. This dude like he grabbed like that scythe when he does that fucking ninja shit where he flips around and comes down and hits the dude, but he just trips and beats shit.
You ever see like a fighting game where they do this really weird, like they throw their leg up one direction and then they fall over the fighter that they're fighting direction? Like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it.
It's like a jumping windmill or some bullshit. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's like an overexertion of a body throw onto the other person. So this guy, he shoots his musket one time, misses, grabs his scythe, and literally just like roundhouses himself onto the zombie. But he clearly misses the zombie like a whole foot, and he dies right there.
Oh, yeah. He hits the zombie somehow, but then the guy that did it just eats shit and fucking dies because then he gets fucking toppled on by like 4 or 5 zombies.
Which serves him right, because, you fucked up.
Shit. Then you got this other scene that was fucking hilarious. These two guys are looking for shit, and then they look over to this building. There's a couple of shots that this happens in, okay? They look at this building, and they're like, oh, maybe we can find something of use in that building. And they shoot over to the building, and there's like a bird just flying casually right into the window. So my immediate thought was, oh, maybe we could find something of use in that building. That bird! And they left all that shit in the shot. Like, there's a shot where they're gathered around trying to talk or some shit, and then you just see 2 pigeons just like in the background just walking through, and I'm like, fuck, man, these birds are the most entertaining fucking thing.
Yeah, they were having this like meeting basically to figure out what was going on. And all in the background, you just see like this pigeon just walking by, and Abraham was like saying something. The pigeon's like, "Yes, sir, Mr. President."
Yes, sir. I'm just
Bobbing his head, like,
march away. I'm just gonna walk away and march on.
You inspired me, sir.
Is that a yes or no? Yes. Always yes, sir.
But yeah, like they created a defensive plan to ward off the zombies from getting inside the fort, and then they figure out the only way to do away with them all is to compile them all into the fort and like blow it up, basically, because they have this like powder keg cellar full of fucking barrels.
It just made me laugh though whenever Stonewall brings him down there and he's knocking all the firewood off to fucking jump. It just looked like he was gonna look over Abe and he's like, well, this is where we keep all the whores.
All cast up.
The cask of whores down here. So you'll be fitting right in. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much what happens. Like, they trap them down there, but the fuse goes out. So then Stonewall says, fuck it, he's going to go down and light it himself because I'm not going to let the president fucking do it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. He doesn't even have an arm. He's just Rick Allening that shit the whole fucking time.
And we get the best fire ever.
The torch, the stick or whatever that he grabbed, it really looks like the boom mic that they used for the audio. He just grabs it like from like the dude on set. He's like, oh, let me take this. digital fire. They couldn't even light the son of a bitch for real. They just said, fuck it. It's too expensive to fucking light this on fire. We're going to spend more money to just digitize it.
Yeah, so he casually walks into the cellar with this boom mic, lays down on the ground, lights the fuse, and he's just like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And it's the most wimpiest fucking explosion compared to like how much gunpowder was actually in that cellar, because the girls and I think Teddy were in this one room in the actual fort, and it literally just goes, and they're like, oh, okay, it's over.
Yeah, we'll just walk out.
They're unenthused about what just happened. They're like, oh, what was that? Oh, okay.
But I was laughing. At one point, like, Teddy throws this rope off the roof to this dude in a tree. And the way that they escape, or that at least Abraham and somebody, I don't remember who the fuck it was, they fucking Kevin McAllister, like from in Home Alone, whenever he goes out of the window and he like slides across that rope to his treehouse. Mm-hmm. That's how they fucking escape this thing. And it just blows up shittily behind them. I know that's not a word, but I'm using it as a word. It's fucking it's like shittily blew up.
Not to mention, they harassed Teddy so hard for throwing that rope. It's like, boy, you can do better than that.
Bitch ass motherfucker.
Throw it like you mean it.
Abraham takes Mary, his old flame, and puts her in this fucking horse barn with this doctor that's been watching after her or whatever the fuck. Because he's like, oh no, you got to find a cure and all this other shit. So he goes in to clean her off or some crap like that. And she winds up biting him.
No,
she scratches him or some shit.
Her fingers dig into his skin because he was trying to like clean her off, and she grabbed him so hard that it pierced his arm. And he looked at his arm, and the doctor's like, we gotta do something about this. So here's the fucked up part. Abraham writes a letter to John Wilkes Booth to basically set up the assassination for him at the theater, just to end the virus outbreak for him. So it was all, quote, a plan, a ruse, a scheme. It wasn't like John Wilkes Booth had a thing against President Abraham. No, it was to make sure that he didn't become a zombie.
What I think is especially hilarious about this, though, is when he gets when John Wilkes Booth gets the telegram, he fucking turns around. I don't even know who is in the house with him, but he turns around and he says something like, oh, look at the good fortune smiling on us, my boy. He fucking like walks in and shit.
I finally get to kill a fucker.
No shit. I mean, I know that was like uneventful as fuck to talk about, but this movie was very uneventful to talk about. Don't really have much else to say about it. I mean, if you want to watch the shit, it's on YouTube and you can go fucking torture yourself the way we did. I'm not saying don't watch it, but if you're going to watch it, just know what you're getting into.
Do it during the day, because at night, if you're tired, you're going to fall asleep probably.
This is true.
I almost did.
This is very true. Now let's hop on over to fucking FDR American Badass, which was a very unexpected treat. Just from the jump, this is a fucking comedy that is legitimately spoofing the presidency of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And in this version, his polio is caused by fucking werewolves, and werewolves just so happen to be behind the Axis powers. Just wrap your head around that for a couple minutes. Because I've got to admit, I did not expect to have this much fun. I did not expect to laugh, like legitimately laugh at this and how funny it actually is. Because it was very fucking funny.
The humor I was expecting was to be like low quality or like more corny than anything, but this was like politically incorrect, racist, like just sexist comedy, but it was like exploding with energy, I guess you can say. It's like it actually makes you laugh at points.
There are movies that can't pull it off. Like this movie is absolutely a spoof at life, basically. But goddamn, dude, Barry Bostwick did a fucking great job as Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah, Barry Bostwick, the same guy who was Brad Majors in Rocky Horror. Wrap your brain around that.
Yeah, he looks nothing like that now.
No, but
God, he's 75 now.
He's a tan 75-year-old.
Yeah, he fucking is. He looks like bearded Guy Fieri sometimes. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, fucking, yeah, this is just ridiculous. I don't even know where to begin with this. So, like, the way they portray his legs is that he gets bit by this fucking werewolf when he is hunting, and he keeps making references to his shriveled up baby polio legs, and he wiggles them every time they show him on camera.
Which in turn actually grosses out his wife, Eleanor.
She's played by Lynn Shay, who is the... man, she's been in so much shit. She's been in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I mean, she's Bob Shay's sister, for fuck's sake, the head guy of New Line Cinema. She's been in the Insidious film series. She was the shitty mother in Detroit Rock City. I mean, she's been in a lot of film over the years. She was pretty fucking funny in this too.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I really don't know where to begin with this, because there's just there's so much shit. Like he gets crippled basically, and then gets told hey, you should run for fucking president. And all right, so one of the first memorable scenes in this movie is when they stop off at the Buford family's house. I guess they're on a campaign trail. Yeah,
they're basically trying to win votes. Which before that, they stopped in Boston, if not mistaken. It was Baltimore. I'm sorry, and he was talking to some dock workers.
Oh my God, yes.
And they're asking about Tommy. And because one of the workers poor Tommy, he's like, well, what's Tommy? Tommy was a worker on the docks, and he was literally quoting Bon Jovi lyrics to Living on a Prayer the entire fucking time.
Yeah, the way he delivered it was funny as shit. Who's Tommy? Oh, Tommy used to work on the dock. And the union went on strike. He's been down on his luck. It's tough. And then Franklin, it's tough. Well, who's taking care of him? His girl, Gina. She works at the diner all day. Just so on, and just what the fuck?
I thought that was fucking funny.
Dude, okay, so the movie was already selling us on the comedy. We already knew we were going to like it, but I think this is the scene that really was just driving that home. I was like, you know what you're getting into with this now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they go to the fucking, on the campaign trail. I guess this is when they still would, do door to door, literally go door to door. The fucking Bufords. Fucking God. Who was it? It was Clavin and Marietta?
I think so.
I mean, he referred to himself as a repube.
It's don't you mean Republican? It's no, sir. It says repube on the paper. I can go get the paper.
And he's like, yeah, repub, it's short for Republican. No, repube. But whatever. Apparently, the way he also introduces his wife, he's like, this is my cousin wife, Marietta, who they make no bones about is
vulnerable.
Yeah. She sleeps with everybody. The way they do it's funny. They're sitting there at dinner and she's just slamming, it's like a chicken bone, just pounded into the mashed potatoes as the dude is giving some kind of monologue about
this hot spring that apparently Indian, when she goes into menstruation, she goes into the spring and just, yeah. And then we get their servant, who just happens to walk in. He's like, who wants dessert? Got rhubarb pie. I got this. And I forgot the guy's name. It was FDR's assistant. But he was like, don't you think it's a bit racist to have a slave? And they all look at him like, sir, they gave me an education, a place to stay, food in my mouth, and all this other stuff. They were making this big ordeal. You called them racist when they did all this stuff for me. I carry this blackboard so I can practice my writing.
Yeah, he was just getting all pissed about it. And he's like, now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go outside and play basketball, motherfuckers. And he just walks out in
the garden.
It's so stupid. I fucking love it, though. It's funny. So where do they go after? Because the timeline jumps so much in this shit.
Well, after they have the hot spring scene and, introduced that, the polio helped. I mean, the hot spring helped with the polio, basically. And he was able to walk on a cane because Buford actually has polio, but he had a lot earlier than FDR did. But apparently the spring helps with the polio at some point. Well, after that scene, they finally get to leave, and FDR makes Buford his vice president of the hot tub committee. And we get the most fucking, I don't know how to explain this, but he's swearing to FDR, I got you, sir. And he's so into it, he's slobbering and drooling out of his mouth.
Yeah, his mouth is literally frothing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I will go to every door. I will make sure Marietta sucks everybody's dick to get the votes.
We will suck all the dicks.
Yeah, we will suck every dick that we can to get you to stay to Georgia, sir. I almost forgot. When FDR initially gets diagnosed with the polio, he fucking looks at the doctor. Does my cack still work? He's been worried about his dick working the whole time. as soon as he gets home, he wants like a press release about his dick still working in the newspaper and all this shit. It's so stupid.
Mm-hmm. But now we get to the next part where he actually wins the election and he's at his home. Y'all, their son, I don't remember the boy's name and I don't really want to, but he walks in, he's like, I got news for y'all. And Eleanor out of the bat is like, telling us she gay ain't news, son. Okay.
It's like, no, dad won.
Some of these lines that he comes up with, it's like he's wanting to beat him with a fat man's belt for lying to him and shit. But they eventually hear on the radio that FDR wins like majority of the states, and they fucking go crazy celebrating. Like FDR gets a pitcher of milk, like splashes it on himself, opens his shirt up, and like just acts like a maniac. Eleanor like takes her bra off underneath her sleeve and rips it out. Fuck, the son grabs a fucking flower vase, throws the flowers out, pulls his pants down, and shits in the vase.
Right as the Secret Service guy shows up.
And he looks at everybody, he's like, y'all need to be presentable. Like, you're the president of the United States. He's like, I'm just fucking with you. You know, Woodrow Wilson did the same shit.
Fucking FDR. I fucking knew it. Fucking knew he did it.
Because he even gets out of his wheelchair to try and walk, and he falls forward onto the table, like the coffee table, and just lays there. But yeah,
it's Lewis. That's his assistant.
Lewis, yeah.
Yeah, because there was at one point whenever he's asking him, how you feeling, Frank? He's like a bag full of dicks at a lesbian convention. The fucking quotes in this movie, the one-liners.
Mm-mm.
But this is where we start figuring out there is a plot with the Axis powers, and they're all werewolves. And it's Germany, it's Italy, and Japan. Like the three main werewolves that get in contact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hilarious because the one in Italy isn't even Italian. It is the most like funny, like street gangster ass like speeches he's given, and it's fucking hilarious. And then the Fuhrer is trying his damnedest to give a German accent. And then the Japanese dude is the one that just gets shit on because they talk shit about his sake.
Yeah, so their first plan was to send alcohol to the States and infect them with the werewolf blood that they put in the actual alcohol. Italy was going to give wine, beer from Germany, and then they were going to give sake from Japan, but the other two are like giving him shit. It's like, who drinks that pussy shit anyway?
Right.
And I'm literally like, y'all, sake is good shit. Don't even talk about that.
Don't talk shit about sake. Yeah, because this is whenever he ends Prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're going to do it.
He wanted to end Prohibition, but MacArthur was like, you need to stop that real quick because they got the first shipment back from all the countries, and they're like, well, it's infected with werewolf blood. And Japan, the sake, he's like, don't tell me. He's like, no, nobody drink that shit.
Right. Yeah, because they equip, so FDR decides to go on a mission to like wherever the shipments are coming from, and they equip him with this fucking decked out wheelchair called the Delano 2000. Yeah. So he rolls in there and he just shoots all the wine and the alcohol out of the casks in the boxes, and he leaves like the one dude or the one werewolf left over and sends his ass back to Germany.
Dude, this dude pleaded for his life. He's like, I'll suck your dick.
Right.
Like, what?
I'll suck it. It just made me fucking laugh, though. This wheelchair has like Gatling guns in the spokes of the fucking tires, and he's got rocket launchers that fucking stretch around to the side. And just, what the actual fuck? God damn it. And like the whole time during this and between this, just the dialogue that he's got with the rest of his people. He's talking like 10 kinds of shit, and he's just like, yeah, I'm freestyle. Like when he addresses his nation, he's like about to go freestyle, and he gets his assistant to go fucking like scratch the record that's playing, and it's like this old fucking timey ass music. He just it's fucking hilarious. Like, just what the fuck even is this? But no, he shoots the fuck out of all this wine and beer and shit, and they go back to the German guy, and he's fucking sitting there. He's like, you sucked his dick, didn't you? It's like,
No,
yeah,
it was Mussolini. It was the Italian.
that's right. Yeah, they go back to the Italian dude. He's hey, how are that? He's like, well, that's kind of a funny story, sir. He came and killed everyone. He's like, he's in a fucking wheelchair. How did you escape? Oh, you sucked his dick, didn't you? Come on, you sucked his dick.
But yeah, it was funny because he was eating spaghetti while getting the news. He calls Hitler. Hitler's playing beer pong with a topless fucking bar winch. And then they call Japan, and he's freaking doing hibachi chef shit with shrimp.
Oh, yeah, because isn't that where his assistant brings that box in? He's like, sir, you got a package from the United States. Is that the scene?
Mhm.
Yeah, because he opens up that envelope, and it's FDR had written him a letter. He's like, don't ever send this pussy-ass shit to my country again. It's the bottle of sake.
He gets pissed off, and he's like, it's time to invade the world with force.
Oh, yeah, because they talk about all the countries they're going to just start taking over to combine their forces.
Yeah, Japan's like, yeah, I'll take over China. Hitler is, well, I'm going to take over Czechoslovakia and some other countries and stuff like that. And Mussolini's like, yeah, I'll take over Ethiopia. And they're giving him shit like, bro, really? That's a pussy ass country.
They're just like, it's Ethiopia. In case they go down, we'll have people coming right up his ass.
It's like, that sounds like a pussy move, but
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
all at the same time, they can hear Hitler playing beer pong, and both of them catch him. It's like, you're playing beer pong again.
You're playing beer pong with that big titty bitch, aren't you? The way they said it was great.
It's like, oh, shites. So their idea said they're going to take over the countries around them to basically spread the virus as much as possible.
Speaking of spreading, there was a line that FDR fucking gave earlier. Where he's like, if I wanted you to blow smoke up my ass, I'd spread my cheeks and slam a hot tea kettle up it. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Sorry, that just reminded me. Like, there are so many one-liners and quotes in this movie. It's fantastic. But anyway, yeah. So is this like towards the end where they finally actually go to the war, or they go to war with them?
Well, we got a couple parts first to talk about, like the one part where he has a fucking weed dream with Abraham Lincoln,
fucking God,
who was played by Hercules Kevin Sorbo.
I fucking hate Kevin Sorbo, but this was pretty funny.
So yeah, he pretty much like is this seer of presidents of past and present and future, and he tells them, you know, what's going to happen, stuff like that. He mentions Obama at one point, which is pretty funny, and they were flying in the air, like they were flying, quote, in the air. Push him in his wheelchair, and Abraham's like, "There's my monument right there," and FDR's like, "Well, are they going to make any monuments for me?" He's like, "No, they're just going to make a lot of high schools in your name." He's like,
"Yeah, that's pretty cool."
Yeah.
Yeah, but before they fly, it's really hilarious because he's sitting there they're sitting like on a golf green or something. It looks like a golf course, but I know it's probably the lawn of the White House or whatever.
Actually, it's the top of the White House.
Okay, yeah. But he just leans over to FDR and he's like, "Want to see something really cool?" Yeah. And then the next shot is literally them flying. He's like, "I can fly, motherfucker." And then he looks down. Because after they look down at the hot dog dude, because at one point the FDR's secretary, like they're playing it like she's gonna suck his dick, but she's really just like massaging his like gimpy ass legs, and she starts like squirting mustard and ketchup all over him, and like it's over the top and it's fucking hilarious.
She had them underneath her skirt, like, you know, like with female spies, they would have the pistol in their like garter belt or something. Like she had two of them, a mustard and a ketchup bottle,
just ready to go.
And FDR was like literally orgasmic on this whole point. Like, my wife never touches my legs ever. This is so great. And she's just like stroking them like fucking dicks, dude.
Yeah, because that part comes back during the flying scene. Because he looks down at this hot dog stand dude, and the dude's like, "This is for you, Frank." And he starts like squirting himself with the ketchup and mustard and rubbing it all over himself. Just like, what the fuck?
Also, it's funny that scene with when Eleanor pops in with the two of them like messing with each other. He's like, "You can tell a unicorn's shit on you, or a rainbow shit on you," basically.
Yeah.
Because she was so pissed off that happened.
Right. She's like, "I'm going to have to get presidential on a bitch." And she like smacks the fuck out of her or whatever.
Mm-hmm. On that hoe.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the next one, when they're flying, Abraham Lincoln goes, "Hey, look at there." And it's this dude like fucking this chick in a window. And he looks up, he's like, "Thanks for freeing me, Abe. I'm fucking a white chick now." And he's like, "Emancipate that ass."
I love that part.
That was so fucking great.
Dude, this movie's like so much bro fisting and shit. It's so funny.
Right. And I think one of the funniest parts about it is that everybody are like homeboys in this.
Like, you can do like the most extreme and most like controversial shit in this movie. It's like, yeah, you good, you bad.
Right. Like, what the fuck?
You mentioned earlier the time skip was like confusing as fuck. So we go from like 1932 to 1933, and I want to say 1934, and then we jump all the way to 1945, like within 10, 15 minutes apart. And I'm like, how the fuck does like 10 years just go by like that, or 11 years go by? But they eventually speed up to where they're finally ready to go to war, because Churchill comes in at one point. It's like, look, I need help. They're taking over around us. And FDR wanted to refuse any kind of involvement in the fucking war. But after his, trip in his mind, he's like, okay, I'm doing this. So he ends up going to an Air Force base and gives this big speech about, being a cripple.
God damn it.
And how, I don't remember how the speech went either, but it was just him basically saying like, oh, well, I'm still going to do what I want, even though I'm a cripple. I'm a fucking cripple. But yeah, so he ends up getting into a plane and flying over to Normandy. And it's literally Mussolini and Hitler with a couple of goonies, like shooting him from the beach. Just them.
Endless amounts of bullets, too.
And what I found funny about this part was Mussolini had the ammo belt for the Gatling gun that Hitler was shooting, and he was shaking the belt while shaking himself while the gun was shaking. And I'm like, why are you shaking?
It was a puny fucking gun. Not that it wouldn't shake or whatever from the recoil, but it was a puny fucking gun.
But it made no sense that he was sitting there like literally shaking himself when he wasn't. I don't know. It's just a little nitpicky thing. It was just funny to me, but still.
Puny gun.
But he ends up killing Mussolini in the plane while getting shot down. And while he's literally going down to ground, Buford was stashed away in a crate inside the plane. And
he looks like the colonel, dude.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm helping you out, Mr. President, blah, blah, blah. And they decide to jump out the plane, and they're literally falling like Looney Tunes style, like at the same speed and everything like that.
It reminded me of that scene in Roger Rabbit when Daffy and when Bugs and Mickey are fucking like dropping at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And Buford's like, you remember when you said friends till the end?
Yeah.
Well, this is now. It's the end. I don't have a parachute. And his last request was, take care of my wife for me. And he has this cane in his hand. He's like doing the whole fucking finger gag in the hole with the cane, and then he puts in his back end.
Yeah, because he does that. He does the first one with Frank, and Frank's like, oh, yeah. And then he puts it in his ass. He's like, oh, yeah. And then he just fucking drops. Like, he increases speed and just drops, and that's the end of him.
But he ends up going to the beach, and for 16 years, no, 16 days. I was like, damn, that's a long time.
That's a long fucking time.
For 16 days, he's been missing.
16 years, fuck it.
And nobody knows where he's at. Eleanor's worried sick about him.
Like, drinks a shit ton of whiskey.
The freaking news declares him to be killed in action. And it was funny because you hear something wheeling in like a wheelchair noise, and it's this chef like, I have moose and I have this and that. And George is like, I'll have some. And now it's like,
Lewis, get the fuck out.
He's like, oh, okay. And then you hear in the background the wheelchair noise again. And it's like, who missed this? What was the line? This like cripple something. It was like a very like politically incorrect like way of saying it, but yeah, like he pops in and they were like, where the hell have you been? It's like, well, I killed everybody on the beach, but the thing was, wheelchairs really can't go on sand very well. Okay, we thought you were captured, but hell, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because he was basically talking about how it was hard to wheel himself everywhere to get back home.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's funny that he even got back home. He had to fly back, or like, what the fuck?
Like, how do you get a wheelchair over the ocean?
It reminds me of the giant plot hole in The Dark Knight Rises when Bruce Wayne is half the fuck way across the world in that giant fucking pit. How did he reappear in Gotham like that?
Mm-hmm.
With no communication, no nothing. That same way with, Batman FDR. Like, how did he fucking wheelchair across the fucking Atlantic Ocean?
Maybe the Delano 2000 has more tricks up its sleeves than we thought.
True.
But I doubt it.
It's whatever's underneath the blanket that he has.
The flotation devices.
That's it. But yeah, he goes and he's like, hey, I want to freestyle one more time. Can you fire up the microphone? He goes over there and he starts just like my fellow Americans, and he gives us like this emboldened speech about how he's defeated all these people and everything, and then Lewis just looks at the camera and he's like, what does he say? Because he's Franklin D. fucking Roosevelt or something, or he's
Franklin Delano Roosevelt, motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's it. I know there's a lot we probably like really missed and skipped over, but it's one of those movies where we want you to fucking see it for yourself, because holy shit, there's only so much we can say that's going to do it justice aside from actually sitting and watching it. Both these are on YouTube. Check them both out. FDR American Badass is the clear goddamn winner. We fucking knew it like 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling just watching Abraham versus Zombies was probably not going to win if the other one wasn't as funny as it was.
Yeah, I swear to God, I did not expect FDR American Badass to be as actually good as it was. You know, like most of the movies we sit and pick out, we're like, okay, this looks like it's going to be a good shit show. Let's check it out. And then like Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies was an actual shit show because it took itself way too seriously. FDR American Badass was like that perfect mixture. And it was actually good. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. Like, there was some shit about it, but goddamn, it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, check this shit out, man. Goddamn. We'll put links in the description below. Go watch it. Just go watch it.
Preferably just FDR, but that's just me.
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, visit supermediabrospodcast.com. It's been revamped. It's just waiting for you to go fucking look at it. And you can subscribe to us on any podcast platform through the website. You can listen on the website. Go there if you want to listen to any of our past, present, or future episodes. Check out all the other shows on the OddPods Media Network. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Buy some merch. Donate to us if you want to. Check us out on social media. All that shit. Just go do it. Are you ready for Friday?
Who isn't?
Yeah. Everybody's always ready for a Friday.
But not this Friday.
No.
This is different.
This is very different. Flash Gordon versus Masters of the Universe on Cult Cinema Showdown.
I swear, there have been like 3 episodes where we mentioned that too. It's like, oh, this is coming up.
It is.
Are you sure you're ready for this?
Yeah. So now is the time to shit or get off the pot or jump out the plane without a parachute.
Or just shit in the face.
Shit in the vase. Shit or get off the vase.
I swear, if your dad wasn't the president, I'd beat you sideways.
Oh my God, yes.
Or however he said it.
Thanks for checking out this special President's Day edition of the Super Media Bros podcast. That's the first time we've ever done a President's Day edition.
But I mean, pretty decent films. Well, at least one was.
Yeah, it's worth it. It was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll catch you this Friday on Cult Cinema Showdown. Until next time, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
Shades on.
We're off.